Welcome back to Hard Meat Farm. I have some wonderful news to share. My husband is officially home now after moving from Georgia. He's still at work a lot, but it feels so good to have my family back together again. The kids and I missed him so much. Today, I'm inviting you into our farmhouse kitchen to cook alongside me. We're making my favorite summer gnocchi recipe, and I just love this recipe so much. It's so easy to make. Making your own fresh gnocchi is not hard to do, I promise. And I'm going to show you later how I'm doing my dairy restock for the week. Having dairy cows means I have so much extra dairy, and I need to make sure that I put it to good use. I wanted to share with you guys that I am still super new to YouTube. I've been on TikTok and Instagram for a while now, but I did try to start YouTube about 10 years ago, and I just kind of got I did actually post a few good videos when I was living in Hawaii, just kind of about mum life and stuff like that. And I'm actually really glad I didn't go down that road of sharing too much about mum life because I'm very passionate about cooking, and I just wasn't ready at that time to share that kind of stuff. So I'm so glad that you're here listening to my YouTube, and honestly, it means so the world to me if you just like or leave a comment. I'd love to chat with you in the comments and just hear about your kitchen adventures as well and how much you're liking these recipes. And if you have any suggestions for recipes or anything I should go over, then put it down in the comments and I would love to talk to you about it. As always, all my recipes are on my blog at hardmeatfarm.com. Head over there. We have some great things, including recipes, my other little ebooks I'm doing. I have one about raising dairy cows, one about just being a homemaker and a mother, and I have another three ebook about how to process chickens if that's what you're interested in. Now, my cooking style is all about I don't know what I'm going to cook into about at least sometimes an hour before I'm cooking dinner. And gnocchi's one of those things that I can still do. It might take me a while to cook, but I have no idea what I'm cooking until I'm pretty much about to do it. So I'll throw some baked potatoes in the oven and then go back outside to do some chores or whatever I need to do with the kids. And I'll let those cook for about an hour. Then I'll take them out the oven and let them cool. I'll kind of crack them open. And then I will start, once that's cold where I can touch it, I will put it through a potato ricer, the potatoes, and add some salt. And then I'll add some flour and some eggs and make my dough. And I'll let that rest for about 30 minutes while I start cooking the bacon, and then I'll add that, make that bacon nice and crispy. I do cook it in a cast iron pan. This is the only time I'll really cook bacon in a cast iron pan. I normally use the broiler, but I want to use those oils and the fat from the bacon to start the gnocchi. Once the bacon is nice and crispy, I'll put it on a paper towel and let it rest out on the counter. And then I will caramelize some chopped onions in the bacon fat. And once those onions are kind of caramelized, I will then use some flour and make a roux, add some chicken stock to it, and some cream to the sauce. And I'll put some tomatoes in there. I will then season with salt, pepper, bunch of garlic powder, and basil. I will chop up the bacon that's nice and crispy, and I will put that on top of the gnocchi. And then I'm going to finish it with some Parmesan cheese. I have sometimes I miss an ingredient or miss a step, but normally it comes together just fine. And you can add different seasonal vegetables or any herbs you have from the garden. I like to add just basil, and I think the flavor is really good. And sometimes I just add chopped tomatoes, but you can add sun-dried tomatoes. I've done it a few different ways, and it always turns out so good. The kids love the little potato pieces of gnocchi, and it doesn't taste like store-bought gnocchi, but it's just because it tastes better. Okay, now it's time for me to start making or prepping my dairy for the week. I always start with cleaning the kitchen when I start any project or start cooking anything or any prep work. I always clean the kitchen. The kids are in and out here all day making a mess, and I'm always cooking, so there's always something that needs wiping down. And since I'm going to be doing quite a few hours in the kitchen, I wanted to make sure the stove was nice and clean. And since I'm going to be filming, I want to make sure it looks really nice. I get a question quite often, and I always get asked if I drink raw milk. And the answer is yes. We have our own two dairy cows, two beautiful cows that are in milk right now. And we have a little calf, heifer, which I'm super excited about. But we do drink raw milk. And I get this question a lot when I'm boiling the milk to make like a yogurt or a cheese, which is just a part of the process. It doesn't mean I don't drink raw milk. It just means that I need to heat up the milk to change the milk into something else. And with all the drama going on right now with that farm in Florida and raw milk, I feel like people just have that amped up feeling that they can just be like, oh my gosh, raw milk is terrible and you shouldn't drink raw milk. Well, yeah, I feel like most people shouldn't drink raw milk. I wouldn't buy raw milk from Walmart. I wouldn't, just go to any old farm and be like, hey, I want to buy your raw milk and just drink it. I produce my own raw milk, so I completely trust the process because I'm the one doing the whole process, and I know that my milk is clean. And not all milk should be raw milk. There's definitely different standards to that. You should, raw milk is clean milk. Pasteurized milk is dirty milk. So we pasteurize the dirty milk so we can drink it. So I will continue to drink my raw milk, even with all the controversy and the drama going on right now. And I will still love to answer questions about it. So if you want to ask me a question, a legit question, and not just shooting some negativity my way, I will definitely answer your question. So the first thing I did was skim all the fat off the milk, which is the cream. It rises to the top when you let it sit and chill overnight to the next day after you bottle it. The cream will rise to the top. Now, there's a few things that I do with the cream. I always put it in my coffee, and I love it in my coffee. It tastes so good. And then I make a lot of butter. And then with the butter, once you separate the butter from the buttermilk, we have a bunch of buttermilk. So I like making buttermilk pancakes. I have the pancake recipe on my website, and everyone says how it is like their favorite pancakes they ever eaten in their life. So I'll definitely give that a try. As you can see, I was having some trouble with my blender. I've had this blender for not too long. I had the same blender for about 10 years, and I got this one from Goodwill because my other one had a broken lid. This one, now the lid is broken in a different way, and I can't get the lid to shut down. I'm definitely in the market for a new blender, and I really want a glass one because I'm trying not to use any plastics when I'm cooking. But yeah, so if anyone knows of a really good glass blender, let me know. So I will use a blender to make butter. You can also use a KitchenAid mixer. I think it's more visually appealing to use a KitchenAid mixer, and I think that's why a lot of creators will post it that way. But the blender is so much easier. It's cleaner, it's faster, and I can just kind of walk away from it and not have to worry about buttermilk splashing all over my kitchen. Depending on the temperature of the cream, it depends how fast this is going to work. This probably worked in about 30 seconds. And I can then strain the butter and the buttermilk and then get the buttermilk into a pan that's underneath it. Now I will rinse it and try to squeeze the most amount of buttermilk I can get out of it because the buttermilk is what goes rancid. So you can't just leave it on the counter. But I'm going to use this butter pretty fast, so I'm not too worried about it, and I will salt it. Um, Also, I'm going to use some ice water to rinse it because we live in Texas and it's summer. So the water comes out of our faucet. It's extremely warm. So if I try to rinse this right now with just my cold water out the faucet, it's not cold. It's like bath water, lukewarm water coming out the cold tap. So it just kind of starts melting my butter. So I will just stick it in an ice bath, and I'll use the big chunky ice out of my freezer to just kind of let it sit there and cool down, and then I'll squeeze it some more, um, and try to get as most of that buttermilk out as I can. But as I said, I'm not gonna sit here for like an hour trying to get so much buttermilk out when I'm probably gonna use this way before the buttermilk will go rancid. You can also freeze it. It does butter freezes really well and it defrosts well. So if you ever have a stockpile of creams, if you get your own dairy cow, you don't have to think that, oh my gosh, I would never use this much butter. Well, you would if you freeze it, and you can save it for big occasions like Thanksgiving and Christmas when you're cooking with a lot with butter. I can also say I do not like this part about making butter. I hate having my hands in ice cold water. It's so painful for my hands. I don't know why. I don't know if that's normal, but it hurts a lot. So I try not to have my hands sitting there in the ice water. Next, I'm going to make is a chocolate syrup, and you might be thinking this isn't a dairy restock part, but it is because we like to make a lot of chocolate milk. So I have a lot of milk right now, and I want the kids to drink a lot of it. So this is a way to get them to drink more milk without me having to kind of like pester them like, hey, do you want some milk instead of water? I will make chocolate milk and they will just drink it up, and we make hot chocolate. You can make a bunch of stuff with this chocolate syrup, but my plan for this will be chocolate milk, and I might make marshmallows at the end of the week. So we might have have like a hot chocolate night, which is something that we don't normally do in the summer, but the kids always ask for it still anyway. So we kind of just get it done. But this is a simple syrup to make, and the longer you let it boil, if you know anything about making candies or heating up sugar. The more and longer you cook it or heat it up, the thicker it gets. I do put vanilla extract in this, normally right at the end, so that it doesn't burn off because it's alcohol. So if you heat it up, it will vaporize off. The recipe is on my website, and I will say the day I made this, I didn't let it heat up as long enough as possible, so it didn't really thicken up as much as like a Hershey sauce would do, but it still flavors the milk just fine. And sometimes it's just kind of what happens. Sometimes when you're making things from scratch, you kind of just don't do it exactly how you should be doing it, as I'm doing so many things at once. So sometimes it doesn't turn out perfect, but we still eat it and we still learn and keep on going with that. A quick note about these butter paddles. You don't need them at all, but I hate having butter on my hands, and your hands are warm. So when you're trying to shape the butter, it's melting the butter because your hands are warm. So I like using these paddles, and I can get into a nice square shape where I can easily divide and measure the butter I need for a certain type of recipe. If I'm going to use butter straight away in a recipe, I normally don't salt it either. But since I was making some sourdough bread, I wanted to put this butter on bread, and salted butter is the way for that. Now I'm going to start making some ice cream, and I absolutely love butter pecan ice cream, but I don't like the pecan chunks in it. So I thought, what a great flavor to try of ice cream to make, and this actually tasted so good. It was, I mean, I've never made butter ice cream before, and it just sounds like such a simple thing and that it wouldn't taste very good, but it has a very complex flavor, and I will say that I very much enjoyed it. The kids loved it too. We have this cool ice cream machine that I did get from Goodwill. I feel like I get a lot of my kitchen appliances from Goodwill. You'll be surprised how many kitchen appliances that you can find at Goodwill that are hardly used, because people buy stuff like this and they never use it. And it just, complicates their kitchen, and they try to have like a little clear out, and they end up donating some really good appliances. I actually have also a all clad waffle maker that was like brand new, and a big waffle maker. I was looking for a big waffle maker for a while, and I found that one at Goodwill, and it was like $9.99, and that waffle maker is over $100. I think it was like $150, and it was like brand new, and it's stainless steel, and I love it. So I would definitely suggest, if you're like, how can I afford to have all these different kitchen appliances and I just couldn't afford that, then just check out Goodwill. And if you want good things from Goodwill, you have to go pretty often, because I can go several times and just not buy anything, and then go on a certain day and fill my cart up with the great things that I find. So I would say a lot of my kitchen appliances and a kitchen stuff in general, like my antique plates and bowls and mixing bowls, they all come from Goodwill. I will say that prepping the dairy in this way makes sure that I get it done, because if I just think that I'm just going to spend like 5 minutes here or an hour here during the week just trying to prep dairy, it just doesn't happen. So if I make all these things and they're just ready, and when I'm busy and the kids just want some yogurt or they want some chocolate milk, it's just ready to go. I say I switch between yogurt and yogurt because I've been in America for 12 years and my accent just comes and goes. I can't control it. It's just something that has a mind of its own right now. But I did make this batch of yogurt, and I will say yogurt, and I will say that this is the only batch of yogurt I've ever made that didn't turn out thick enough. And I just don't think I put enough culture yogurt starter from the previous yogurt, which kind of sucks, because I was really looking forward to some nice thick yogurt. My dad was coming in from England to visit, and he just loves eating plain yogurt. So I was pretty bummed when it was really runny. So I will have to make another batch, because you can fix this, but I didn't have the time or want to sit there and fix it. So I fed a lot of it to the dogs, and I'm going to use it for curries and other recipes. And I did make some blueberry yogurt with it and send it off with my husband to go to work with. But again, he doesn't really enjoy the super runny yogurt, and neither do I. I really like that thick, like French set yogurt, and I've never heard anyone describe French set yogurt in America. Maybe it's what you guys call Greek yogurt. I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure what a Greek yogurt is, because I don't really ever buy it. But I think that's what the French set is, and that's what I'd always buy in England. And I'm going to try doing that. So that means you're setting the yogurt in its intentional pot that you're going to eat it from. So I did buy some cute little weck jars, and I'm going to try that this week when I make my next dairy reset. Wrap all my kitchen adventures for today. We got our dairy restock for the week and some delicious summer gnocchi ready for dinner. You know, days like this remind me of why I love sharing our farm life. You know, it's simple, everyday moments, cooking together, taking care of our animals, and preparing food from scratch that makes us all feel so full. Before you go, I wanted to let you know that our farm fresh chickens are ready to order on our website, harmyfarm.com. So if you're in the Texas area, go ahead and order some chickens. I'm still trying to figure out how to ship chickens, but hopefully that's going to be happening really soon in the future. Much for spending this time with me today in my kitchen, and don't forget to like this video if it brought you just a little bit of joy, and please leave a comment. I really do love hearing from you and connecting with this wonderful community that I'm building together with you.